Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and the podcast. There you are. How are you this morning? Hope you're well. Tudo bem? Como estás? Do let me know in the chat, if you will, on this fine morning. And a lovely picture and a lovely sentiment expressed this morning by the lovely lady. I don't know her name, actually. The lovely lady over at My Beautiful Country. And she posts up pictures of Portugal pretty much every day and brightens up the otherwise dismal place that was Twitter and is now X. And this is a classic shot of hers. This is the sort of thing that she posts up over on X and makes that place somewhat more bearable. I've got a real love-hate relationship with X, and this is certainly something that makes it a whole lot better. There's some great art on there, some lovely pictures. That's a work of art. That's a work of Portuguese art right there. I think we're seeing a couple of espresso cafés. Dois pastéis de nata there. What a way to start the day. In fact, I could be doing that right now. I've got my kids bought some pastel de natas from Lidl yesterday. Should I have said that? Sacrilegious, possibly. But they are very good value. And they're not too bad at all at the Lidl. Where is your favorite pastel de nata from? Are you still eating pastel de nata, or is the novelty worn off? I don't think that's something that ever really wears off here in Portugal. Other classics that we opened up with this morning include, and this is the opening gambit today on my own foundation course that I'm running about Portuguese language and culture. And don't forget, morning to you, João de Norte. Bom dia, Portugal, from João de Norte. Don't forget, I was marked down as a man who you should never learn Portuguese from. Hopefully that's changing a little bit, and it's great to be on Maria and Vitor's course. Maria's mainly, right? Vitor's helping out a little bit where he can. And morning to you, Hugh, as well. Good morning from Viseur. Looking forward to meeting you and seeing you soon. Yeah, this was the opening message this morning from my Portuguese course. A bit of language and a bit of culture. I think the two are inextricably linked. And I was asking how many of these, because we were doing numbers yesterday, and getting people to memorize and say their NIF number or their NIF, their número de contribuinte, and their phone number as well, which is a really good way of learning the numbers and committing something to memory and feeling really Portuguese, basically, when somebody asks you for your phone number or your NIF. If you can say it with gay aplomb, I think you can feel very Portuguese as well. So there's the pastel de nata, the pastéis there again, top left-hand corner. How many of these have you tried? This is the, not exactly homework, but today's assignment on my foundation course. Pastel de nata, ginger and copos de chocolate. Check. I remember doing a video with Mrs. M, and I said, do you want to try this? And she said, yeah. And she just took a little sip and then gobbled up the whole thing, not leaving any for me. I had to go and get another one. But which is easy to do when you're in Alcobaça, where we made the video. Caldo verde, the cabbage soup, of course, with a little bit of meat in there usually. Isn't there? Sometimes a little bit of chorizo in there. Bacalhau, done however you want it. So check, 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 check. A francesina, yes, but it's been a long time. And me and my eldest lad, who are a bit partial to a francesina, saw that they make one in our local shopping mall. One of the smallest shopping malls in Portugal, and it's small but perfectly formed, La Vie in Caldas de Rainha. We're going to get a francesinha there with chips, of course. Cataplana. Do you know, I don't think I've had a cataplana. I think I've had something that gets close, but not the traditional cataplana. steamed in the terracotta or copper pot. Oh, it's a copper pot, isn't it? Not a terracotta. I haven't done it in that. I haven't had it in that traditional way in copper. Polvo al guerrero. I do love the octopus. I've had that. Sardinias asadas. It is sardine season as far as I'm concerned. And I sent a picture to Gilda without getting much of a pushback. I think she knew I was a little bit offended, actually, talking of learning Portuguese. Somebody asked that question on the most recent Dream Team session. What's the best way to learn Portuguese? Not from Carl, she said as well, adding to the dismal rumors, the bad reviews I get of teaching Portuguese. There's another one from Gilda. I think I can show you the picture of my sardines, so to speak. And yeah, I was grilling on, I think it was Sunday night, possibly, or was it? I can't remember. Yeah, got the coals beautifully glowing. It was quite late in the evening by the time I got round to it. But I thought those were looking pretty good. Gilda was restrained in her review. They look a bit overcooked, I think she said, but that's very, I'm going to take that as faint. No, that I'd be damned by faint praise, wouldn't I? She wasn't as harsh on me as she might have been. Let me put it that way. But they were delicious on a bit of fresh, crusty bread. So sardine season has started for me with the sardinhas asadas there. And cozido a portuguesa, we haven't had that. We've had feijoada with some of those cozida meats and indistinguishable parts of animals in back in the day. So cataplana and cozido a portuguesa I've yet to have, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 others that I've gladly tried and look forward to trying again sometime soon in a Portuguese cafe near you. How many of those out of that 9, how many did you score this morning? Right, this morning we are talking to Marion Geray of Walksperia. She sent me a message. Now, this happens at the end of an interesting month, and I've got this down as an interesting month because there is a 5th Monday and a 5th Tuesday. Today's the 5th Tuesday. So that's how we roll with our calendar of hosts and co-hosts and guests, is people come in on every Monday or every 2nd Tuesday or the 3rd Friday, etc. And we don't have anyone scheduled. When we get into the 5th days of the month, we don't have anyone scheduled necessarily. And today we have Marion Geray, who very thoughtfully, who couldn't be with us last Tuesday on Chill Out Tuesday, but sent a message to say, how about we do some mental spring cleaning? Well, yes, of course, that sounds great. A continuation of our, I was going to say fixation with mindfulness, but our focus on mindfulness. And this mental spring cleaning is what we'll be doing with Marion at around 9:30. And she's going to be using that old classic. Probably everybody tuned in who's done any kind of, coaching, personal development work, inner work, out, shake it all about kind of work. You'll have looked at the Wheel of Life, and we're going to be revisiting the Wheel of Life. And of course, Portugal, a great place where people tend to boost their scores, but there may be areas where the numbers aren't as good as you'd like them to be. So we'll be looking at that. And presumably she'll be telling us what we can do about it. Talking about such qualitative and quantitative things when it comes to measuring quality of life. Charlie Chaplin, apparently, he wasn't talking directly about Portugal, because I think Snoop Dogg offered this last sentence on the screen here. But this is Wheel of Life sort of stuff, isn't it? Nothing is eternal in this world, said Charlie Chaplin, not even our problems. That's nice to know, isn't it? This too shall pass. I like to walk in the rain because no one can see my tears. Stop it, Charlie. Oh, that's so sad. The most wasted day in life is the day we don't laugh. And here are the 6 best doctors in the world. Dr. Sunshine, Dr. Rest. Oh, I'd love some of that. Doctor, and I'll maybe have a little seshta this afternoon. Dr. Exercise and Dr. Diet, Dr. Self-Esteem, and Dr. Friends. I think I'll show this to Marion when she gets here at around 9:30 this morning. Portugal offers all of the above. Now, Charlie Chaplin, I don't think said that. I think Doug is adding that at the end there. So thank you both of you clowns this morning, Doug and Charlie, in the nicest possible way. By the way, you're still in the country here, Dougie, I wonder. I can't remember if you're in, out, or shaking it all about. Also on our YouTube channel, just quickly, whilst I remember, and while we're delving around in the picture deck, Braga, Portugal, I took a highlight from when Colleen was with us last Friday. So there's a little, if you want to learn a bit more about Braga, if you didn't see that, there's a segmented interview. Because I know sometimes it's a bit much, isn't it, to watch a whole show back, 90 minutes of Good Morning Portugal. So there is the segment there. And there are more segments turning up on GMP TV, including films by Andy Klein. Oh, Itchy Hooter. Who doesn't like an itchy? I don't like an itchy hooter first thing in the morning when I'm trying to present. Okay, thank you very much then, Colleen, and your Braga, your thoughts on Braga, which can be found on our YouTube channel. Who's in this morning? Coach Turner, I saw earlier on. Pete is in. And Rugby Colin. Oh, good morning, Hugh. We will be with you early afternoon to do some filming of your Quinta on Monday. Looking forward to it. Yeah, me too. Eu também, Colin. And I will send all that footage to you. So that you can get some editing done. Is anyone looking for an editing apprentice? Are there any highly skilled editors who might want to teach Colin a thing or two? Actually, I'm jumping the gun there. You might feel completely able and proficient when it comes to editing, Rugby Colin. But just in case you need a little bit of help, Coach Turner might give you a few tips. He's knocked out some cracking little films just on his phone of his journey through Portugal, the Portugal tour. And we'll, of course, see you again next week, Coach Turner, who says this morning, as well as sending us some lovely footage, which I'll play in just a moment, and an Andy Klein. We've got an little Andy Klein film of about 3 minutes as well, having mentioned Andy. Bom dia a todos e feliz terça. At least I think it's Tuesday. Yes, we can confirm that. Finally arrived in the Algarve, and I can leave the car parked for a few days. Oh, that's nice. The breeze was a bit chilly yesterday evening. Sun's up today, though, and going for a swim before heading out to get a coffee and a pastel. It's a tough life. So I think your morning looks a little bit like my beautiful country's shot from this morning as well. And I didn't read out what she said there, actually. This is her yesterday shot. Busy day ahead. Stay cool, stay safe, stay happy. Life, it's too short for not to be happy. There you go. What a lovely sentiment, which I'm sure you'll agree with this morning, Coach Turner. Are you an espresso shot person, though, or do you like a milky coffee? If you don't mind me probing you in that way. I know it's a very personal question. Right, and you've been through Villanova de Milfonge, I see, Sinish as well. So we'll play those videos in just a moment. Before we do, though, God Squad tip of the day, plank. Squatting yesterday, planking today. Yes, I've been called that a few times, but in this case, it's a useful exercise. Effectively, you put yourself in the press-up position and hold. Who doesn't like to hold in the press-up position at any time of the day? Make sure your head, torso, and legs are in a straight line. You can get an official third-party adjudicator to assess your straightness. You can support yourself on your forearms rather than your hands. The important thing is to hold the position. Start with about 15 seconds. For a moment there, before I read it, I thought it said 15 minutes. And I saw one of those TikToks or similar short films, a short, of a woman, a planking record of a woman who planked for hours on end. She was awesome. We're not recommending you do that, are we, Coach? You should eventually be able to manage up to 45 seconds or so. Doing side planks is also useful to strengthen your core. And then you can lift your legs up and do all sorts of things from that position as well. Core strength will have other people looking at you. I think that's why they call it core strength, because as you pass by and you've got a firm and well tensioned or toned belly, they're saying core. Core strength is important as it helps connect the upper body with the legs and is key to good balance. Very good. Thank you, Coach Turner. On tour in the Algarve and still serving up a wonderful God Squad tip of the day for us. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Talking of appreciation, I'm going to go over to the website of Good Morning Portugal. Got a lot to get through this morning, and Marion joining us, of course, in about 3/4 of an hour. Over on the homepage of the website, there are official thanks. Now, I know every time I say this, I say that I don't do it enough, and I will not apologize for that. This is by way of an introduction and something of a thank you and a new feature for Portugal Club members. So thank you, Gumpers. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you watching this morning. And there is a list of people there. This is well overdue of the wonderful people. And I'm aware if you're a supporter and your name's not on there, you let me know, because you need to be on there. That's the list of people who support the Good Morning Portugal endeavor. in a way that if they didn't, it wouldn't probably happen. So thank you so much. That's on the homepage there. Thank you, Gumpers. And for you tonight, starting this evening, there is the Portugal Club online meetup. Now, we've been having a meetup every Tuesday evening with the Mastermind group. They're the folks who they are some of our I guess some of our longest standing and most deeply connected supporters. They have a say in the future of how the show works. I seek their counsel, and we've been having a meeting most Tuesdays at about 8 o'clock in the evening on a Tuesday. And we've had special guests, and we are now opening our doors to the special guests who are all of the Portugal Club, the people who've signed up over at theportugalclub.com or GMP VIP. And you should see, if you've done that, you should see your name in that list there, which you can see at goodmorningportugal.com. If it's not on there, you tell me, and I'll make sure it is on there. If you're one of those people who gets embarrassed being thanked publicly and you'd like your name taken off there, also tell me that. But I do need and want to thank you so much, because really, if it wasn't for this crowd-funded approach and our mix, our salad of crowdfunding and support, this wouldn't happen. So thank you very much indeed. As I say, I don't say it often enough, and I could quite easily say it every show, but I guess that would be just a show of thanking people. So we will, there you are, immortalized on the homepage of the website. And I will from time to time thank you very much and welcome you tonight from 8:30 on this Portugal Club, this new Portugal Club online meetup, which will happen every Tuesday evening at 8:30. So thank you very much. Muito obrigado, all of you. Thanks to our supporters, sponsors, and the Gumpers who make GMP possible. Who doesn't love them first thing in the morning? I know I do. Mrs. M's just arrived with a cup of coffee as well. Morning, thank you. What's happened to your face?
Thanks. I've just.
You just like you know when that phrase being dragged backwards through a hedge. You do look. You look like you've been dragged backwards through the compost heap.
Okay.
You cannot deny that. I'm not being unnecessarily unkind here, am I? No.
I've just scrubbed my face with.
She's just scrubbed her face with coffee grounds.
And then.
Did you make the coffee before or after doing that?
Before. And
okay,
then
thank
I've
you.
just rubbed banana skin over my face as well.
And she's rubbed banana skin over her face. The price of beauty. You don't need to do any of that, you know. See what I did there? Right. Thank you very much, Mrs. M.
Find out
what's next? You were so rubbing. Any suggestions? What to do next?
What can I rub
Coffee grounds, banana skin. Maybe smoke the banana skins.
I'm about to do a face mask with honey, olive oil, and egg yolk.
That sounds good enough to put on a salad. A waste of good food, in fact.
It is.
We'll make an omelette afterwards with the leftovers.
I'd like to know everyone's natural beauty tips.
Okay, natural beauty tips, if you will, please. I mean, some people just don't need it. Mrs. M's one of them, but she will insist on it. What did she just say? Olive oil, honey, and egg white or egg yolk. She's going to walk around with a face like a meringue, or a meringue, a little bit later on. Okay, core strength, important. Thank you very much, Coach Turner. And bom dia, Gumpers. Felicitas a todos, como estão? Tudo bem? From DYK, we'll call him. Actually, his full name this week is, did you know there's a redwood tree in Busaco, Portugal? Have you seen it? I meant to ask you that yesterday. We got to get a bit carried away as we do. Went off on a tangent or two yesterday, didn't we, James? And it was great fun as well. Good fun talking to you about being in a supermarket, collapsed to the floor in the fetal position and weeping, having been triggered by an awkward situation. Not that James or I have ever done that, I don't think, in real life. But have you been to Busaco? I've been there. It's a fantastic place. It really is. Possibly a little bit difficult to get to by public transport, although I suspect there is a coach there from Coimbra. It's between Coimbra and Aveiro. And the Busaco, is it a national park? It's certainly a forested park, which connects very nicely to a picture you've sent me this morning, James. And you would love it there if you haven't been there. And there's a contemplative walk, because I think before the Busaco Palace was built, or as well as it being built, there was a place of worship and residence of the holy people. Priests and nuns have there's a little walk around the Busaco forest with little shrines and places you can stop and contemplate and be mindful, basically. So I wonder if you've been there, and this is the right time to show your picture of the forest. Why is it called a forest? Because it's for rest. I'd never noticed that before. Very good. 2 R's, as in Forrest Gump. I think there. Does Forrest got 2 R's in it in Forrest Gump? I'm not sure. But anyway, the forest is for rest and you're mindful. I'll leave it on the screen as we ponder your mindful moment then. Practicing a mindful moment in the middle of the day. This is somebody called Christine Agro. Now, you wouldn't expect mindful tips to come from somebody called Agro. Maybe that's a phrase more commonly used in the United Kingdom than it is in the United States. But aggro, short for aggravation. Practicing, maybe that's why she went into mindfulness. She got sick of people saying, here comes aggro. Practicing a mindful moment in the middle of the day helps to bring you back to center, reset. She used American, definitely spelling center like that. How dare you do that to our language? Practicing, okay, mindful now, Carl. Practicing a mindful moment in the middle of the day helps to bring you back to center, reset, and move into the rest of your day with greater clarity and focus. Now, that's the best possible result, isn't it, from a mindful moment? Thank you very much there, James. And thank you, Christine Agro. Muito prazer, Senora Agro. And your mindful dad joke. I got fired from the calendar factory. All I did was take a day off. Love that. That's made the whole show worthwhile this morning. That fantastic dad joke. Have you seen the Portuguese's dad joke, his short with his son? Oh, dear. And I need his permission. I want to show his wonderful short video of him meeting pretty ladies whilst out walking his dog. Have you seen that? Bon dia, everyone, from a beautiful sunny canal somewhere in the UK. How is canal life this morning in the United Kingdom? Here's James's other submission this morning, a meme, a Star Trek meme. Captain Kirk, I love going outdoors. Yes, it is much safer than going out of windows. Very good. Thank you for that, Spock, taking everything very literally, which is a fabulous dynamic to have, isn't it? This is sort of the logic of a 3-year-old there, or maybe a 303-year-old. I don't know. Smash the like button. Jackie is urging us to do. Smash the like button, amigos. I wonder. And thank you for your message yesterday, Jackie. Thank you so much. I will respond to you today. It was a very busy day yesterday, and we'll get back to you today. Bon dia, Carl, and we'll get all caught up on everything that we need to get caught up on. Jackie, in a good way. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers, from a wet but mild Belfast, 10 degrees. We've had 4.5 inches of rain. Who doesn't like that first thing in the morning? So far this month, I think, to start improving properly tomorrow. 4.5 inches. We had 10 dry days this month. Okay, so sorry, I thought it had 4.5 inches of rain in one day. 4.5 inches of rain in April, that's not too bad, is it? But a 10-day dry spell in the middle of that. Pete's in has the same amount. Portugal has the same amount of rainfall as Wales, but the former has 300 days of sun, whilst the latter has 300 days of rain. Honestly, your mood will certainly improve when you're here. I think Deagle knows that as a regular visitor to these shores. Bon dia, Portugal, from João do Norte earlier on, and of course from Hugh and Michael. Bon dia from a cloudy Miranda de Corvo. Thank you for the images that you sent to pass on to Jackie. I think Jackie will be delighted to receive that information. Thank you, Michael, for being so thoughtful. Bon dia, my lovely Carl this morning, and bon dia to you, Jackie, coming from James as well. Lots of lovely exchanges of good feelings and nice welcomes this morning. Let's go back. Let's get to the Star Trek crew off the screen. There we go. We've got a couple of videos to play. And I want to tell you also about the 1st of May. It's, some might say, another public holiday tomorrow, which is still getting over the last one. I think people were partying hard because of the Carnation Revolution. And we've room for one more wafer-thin Carnation Revolution video this morning because it's Andy Klein's. It'll be a great video. We'll watch that in just a moment. And interestingly, May the 1st, the celebration of May the 1st, 1974. So you don't hear much about this. You hear a lot about the Carnation Revolution, and quite rightly so. However, the celebration of May the 1st, 1974, just a week after the April 25th revolution, remains today. Did you know this? Remains today as the largest popular demonstration in Portuguese history. I didn't know that. From the north to the south of the country, hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets that day, spontaneously demonstrating their joy for the recently won freedom. And I've got an RTP link, RTP, which with loads of wonderful clips from the time. So a very important day in the Portuguese calendar. That's a public holiday happening tomorrow. I'll say a bit more about that and show you that page in just a moment. I'm going to play you some video now. We'll have a sip on some coffee. Let's probably this will be the last Carnation Revolution video for this year. And of course, we will do what we can to honor that occasion every year. But I think we're seeing it in the rearview mirror now as we look towards Labour Day or Workers' Day tomorrow. But this, in conclusion, then, this is Andy Klein's latest video, and a great piece of work it is, as we've come to expect from him, the creator of the Englishman and the Irishman films, which you can see on our YouTube channel and on the Portugal Resident YouTube channel. And now this one. Wow, sorry, I had me faded down there. That was incredible. First of all, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and then I teared up a little bit seeing people singing. That's superb. Thank you very much for that, Andy Klein. Great work, and we'll add that to the GMP TV segments that come from the show as well. If 90 minutes is all just a little bit too much. So it's a big chunk of our days, isn't it? Thank you. That's another reason to thank you so much for being here. For those of you who are here for an hour and a half, with perhaps listening with it on listening in the background, hopefully, and we will include more and more Portuguese. I think there's something in the air at the moment, isn't there, about learning more Portuguese in this community. So we will include more Portuguese, and a great. You may have picked up a few words from the wonderful song there that was the cue for the Carnation Revolution there from Zeca Afonso. Okay, I don't like pastel de leche. Is there a chocolate one available? Right, sorry, you can't come to Portugal now. Jackie, I can't believe you just said that. And you're calling them pastel de leches. Milk pasties or milk pastries. No, custard pastries, pastel de nata. Jackie, we're going to have a chat about this. Is there a chocolate one available? There is, although I wouldn't recommend it. So you're not keen on the custard nata? I'm shocked, quite frankly. Let's hope the Portuguese ambassador to Wales or the UK is not tuned in this morning. I think they probably do from time to time, but let's hope we're spared that diplomatic outrage today. Morning, Jackie, Michael, Colin, Deagle, James. Hope the clouds aren't spoiling your morning, says Peter, who sounds like he might have a few clouds. Carl, where is the feijoada? Surely no Portuguese cuisine is complete without a snout or eyeball staring back up at you. I did mention it. It's not included in that list there. You're quite right. I mean, if you were going to extend it to 12 dishes, I'm sure the feijoada would make the cut. In case you weren't here, this is what we're talking about here. Yeah, something looking out at you from a feijoada. Very tasty too, by the way. But it's in the more hardcore dishes of Portugal, isn't it? Alongside the cataplana and the cozida portuguesa as well. Thank you, Pete, for mention of that. And we've got 8. Which one didn't you eat? Interestingly, James, which of those did you not eat? If I was in Miranda de Corvo, there would be no type of weather that could ruin my day, says Jackie. Well, Jackie, yeah, but at least you can make an effort to pretend to like a pastel de nata when you're in Miranda de Corvo, at least for the first year of being here in Portugal. Seriously, shocked. The reverberations of that news with Jackie declaring publicly she doesn't like pastel de natas. I mean, with that that translation as well. And looking for a chocolate one. I can't believe it. Except Mondays. Claro, what's that? What's he talking about there? Spoken like a true summerless Brit, Jackie. I've seen that meme that's going around with the kid crying. I have to spend summer in England. Small boy cries in meme. There's a redwood tree in Busaco. By Randy talking to James here. Did you know there's a redwood tree in Busaco, Portugal? You can visit your namesake today, as well as gaining some history knowledge. The route Luso Clandestino de Alvaro Cunhal at 3 o'clock starts at the Busaco tourist office. By Randy, I bet that's on the Gumper map as well. Cheers, mate, for that. Good morning to you. The Casal de Antonio Luso, where the water comes from, of course, there's the source of Luso water there near Busaco, was the clandestine house of the PCP. In it lived Duarte and Elvira, Alvaro Cunhal and Sofia Ferreira. It was here that the PED arrested Alvaro Cunhal and sent him to the fort of Peniche, where he made a spectacular escape abroad. Thus, Luso has a place in history regarding the Portuguese Communist Party and its leader, Alvaro Cunhal. That's amazing. Thank you, Barandi, for bringing that to our screens this morning. Very good. So, well worth a trip to Busaco, Portuguese history, and a redwood tree there as well. Thank you very much. Pete, Jackie is letting you know that she avoids sun as much as possible, not coming for the weather. It's the amazing artisan culture and crafting that's won my fascination, and the love of the people won my heart. Oh, bit of Gumper dust on you for that comment. And Pete, yeah, the PED is such a great acronym, a political party that sounds like you have just been to the urinals. Yes, and as is seen in so many spy movies, overhearing a conversation in the lavatory as well. Maybe that's why they called the PED, because they have just peed and just realized who the mole is buried deep in their organization from a chance conversation in the lavatories. Or have I just got too fertile an imagination there? Bon dia, Gumbers. We'll make that movie, Peter. And that toilet scene. Well, you have certainly chosen the right reasons, but the sun does cheer you up. Sounds like you're in for a treat. Absolutely well said, Pete, to Jackie there. And there is a redwood. No, hold on a minute. He does this to me every week with a different name. Thank you very much, James, for that. All rise, Lord Travancer is here from Central Portugal. A bit cloudy over there. How are you today? Your Lordship, Barak, how's it going over there? And look at this esteemed community with lords and squires. Squire of the Shires is in as well. Morning, Squire. How are you? Bon dia, todos. Solar Life. I honestly cannot wait. I'm excited because tonight I'm at the end of a 6-month journey to get work done on the boat, and then she's up for sale. Well, can we help with that, I wonder? There's a canal boat for sale somewhere in the United Kingdom. They are selling fast at the minute, and then I'm on my way. That's good to know, isn't it? So if you want to share the details with us, for anybody who might be looking at the UK as a destination and living on the canals of the UK, we'd be very happy to help out with that. I'll need to do a dash. Need to dash early this morning, says Trabalhador. A friend is coming over for a chat. Morning to you. And beauty suggestions then. Thanks, Trabalhador, for being here. And see you tonight. Avocado mask, possibly, says James. She did buy some avocados. I thought they were going to be to eat, so maybe they are going to be smashed and applied topically. Bon dia, Jackie. Solar topa de manhã. Topa de manhã. Top of the manhã to you, para você. And Squire, my Portuguese is not doing well. Sorry, but I'm trying. Yes, Jackie, that's all you got to do is try. And we'll get you in that foundation course as well. Yes, I agree. It's always a good practice to connect the upper part of one's body. This is to the coach and the planking that was spoken about earlier on. Videos to come from the coach this morning and a couple of stills. It's always good practice to connect the upper part of one's body with its legs. The alternative is not recommended, else performed by an excellent magician. Very good. Thank you. Well, and speak for yourself, Carl. So confirmation then, James has never been curled up in a fetal position in a Portuguese supermarket. Sorry if that rumor's already left the gates. I've not been to Brazil, he says. Apparently all the trees in a certain park there have been imported for their spectacular qualities. That's true. And I wonder which Indiana Jones type of person, or was it probably a monk? Monks often get up to this sort of thing, don't they? Maybe there was a monk there who curated that garden, and it's the global species that made it there. Portuguese's pulling ability is not to be admired. So you've seen it then. And redwoods have very specific growing requirements. They do not grow anywhere in the world other than the northwest coast of the American continent. So the fact there is one in Portugal is quite the rarity. Excellent. Thanks to Michael from Jackie as well as me this morning. Thanks. We'll get those images to Jackie. I didn't realize you were on the canals. Did you ever watch Foxes Afloat? Are you going to the wedding in Scotland? What are you talking about, Peter? And there's also a very large redwood of sequoia in a lovely public garden in the walled city centre of Lucca in Italy. So there are exceptions that prove that rule then, presumably, the redwoods that have been planted and liked their environment and have flourished. Same here, Jackie, says Squire, bit by bit, hour by hour, day by day. I'm sure your Portuguese will bloom in every way. Nicely done there, Squire. And there's no other way. We had this conversation yesterday, didn't we? And I was watching Portuguese cartoons with my kids yesterday. And it's true. They will watch anything that flashes before their eyes on a screen, especially if it looks like a kid's cartoon. And they were watching in Portuguese. And I was thinking, continuing the conversational theme that we had yesterday about how you learn when you're learning your native language, you're just soaking it up. You're not translating, are you? That's one of the, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. It's probably an unhelpful thing a lot of the time to be in that rational frame of mind where you're just looking at everything, constantly translating. Whereas kids growing up, toddlers, babies, they're not translating, are they? Well, what they're translating is their concept of things into the sounds of things. And we have an added complication when we're adding a new language. If our approach is to translate all the time, rather than just soak it up by watching cartoons and immersion in the culture, that will be a different dynamic at work. So bear that in mind as well. Soak it up, and you are learning much more than you think you are. So, and don't give yourself a hard time, because those babies, those toddlers are not punishing themselves for not learning the language quick enough. That's their parents that do that. I doubt many kids are like, my native tongue is not coming on as quickly as I would like it to. And maybe if that does happen out of frustration, they can't find the word or express themselves. That gives them the momentum to do so. I really like that insight, that psychological insight into learning languages that we spoke about yesterday and return to from time to time. So keep up the good work and don't be too hard on yourself. Be hard on yourself enough to make an effort, but not so hard on yourself that you undermine yourself and undo the good work that is taking place subconsciously. And yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? We deal with so much of life on that sort of rational, logical level. and we cut out so much of the other ways in which we're receiving information and connecting with life. Solar life, never seen that. What's that? What wedding? Yeah, exactly. Yes, inland now after a stint at sea. What? You've been out on the high seas as well, Jackie. Cannot wait to be on land now. Your life of gentle swaying is over, is it? And you're going to be on terra firma soon. Lights that work, a bog that flushes, and it's not much to ask for, is it? Lights that work, a bog that flushes, and shops that don't get further away every day. That's an interesting review of life on the canals. And what a tune, yeah, going back to the film there by Andy Klein and Grandola Villa Morena. Have I got that right? Zek Afonso. You try it. And beautiful as well. So what a Deagle's got his own copy of that. And what a tune. So moving. Great video, says Michael. I've really enjoyed learning the history of the Carnation Revolution and how it was pulled off. Absolutely. Ugh, custard. She's doubling down. Ugh, custard. That's just ugh, Carl. Oh, come on. Jackie, it's not like school custard. It's the opposite end of the custard spectrum. It's divine custard. It's cosmic custard, not the lumpy stuff you used to get at school. Did you have a bad experience? Maybe we can have a custard-based encounter group, a regression therapy, a pastel de nata-based regression session. I'll happily host that. Can I count bacalhau twice, as it tends to? No, you can't. Dubianet, good morning. Bon dia, yo. No eggy. I cannot believe what I'm hearing this morning. Please, I can't have anyone else. That's two people now who are eschewing the egginess of custard. I can't take any more of this morning. Stop it. It's like the floodgates have opened. Great exhibition of mindful Carl. Great exhibition of Paula Rego's work in Cascais. Her paintings were truly subversive against the dictatorship. In some good times enjoyed celebrating the revolution for the Turners there in Cascais. So check out that Paula Rego work there, subversive work, undermining the dictatorial forces. Michael, Dave in Portugal did an amazing video this week about the traditions of northern Portugal with people dressing up like monsters. It's really interesting. I watched it with fascination. Well done. We've got Drave in Portugal, a video that I was thinking might pick up a few clicks because it looks like Dave in Portugal. So he's done some northern Portuguese monsters, has he? Let me guess what the title of Dave in Portugal's monster video was. Let me see, because he's Dave in Portugal. He's even addressed it in his own videos. Invites you there on a clickbaity basis, and then says, it gives a little bit of an explanation as to why he's done so. I think in one of his more recent videos. But I was nearly eaten by monsters in northern Portugal. That sounds like a Dave in Portugal video. I confess, I too what's going on this morning? I confess, I too dislike bacalhau. It's like open season for like eating on the Portuguese food. I too dislike bacalhau, neither blood rice nor lamprey. Sorry, it's just true. People feeling solidarity here among with a bit of Portuguese classic food bashing. I'm a fan of the bacalhau dishes I've had, but I've loved fish. I had salt cod dishes in Scandinavia countries first. Yum. So I think I that slightly balances the books of Portuguese culture there. Nubianet, thank you for that. Honestly, says Geraldinot, it's not the bacalhau itself. I like fish once in a while as well. It's the ubiquitousness of it that disagrees with me. Geraldinot. Bon dia todos from Antonio F. Antonio's here, everybody. And a bon dia Antonio from James this morning. Sarah's in also, and Geraldinot. Whilst we're talking about what we like and don't like when it comes to the Portuguese food, then my favorite was cooked in port, and placed on a bed of creamy, buttery mashed potatoes that also had green garlic. I had that in Gaia. That sounds really good. That's the bacalhau dish then, I take it. How are you this morning? How's Steve? Sarah, do let us know. If you hide your dish of bacalhau and leave it for a day, it can transform into a great doorstop, counterweight, or even soluble murder weapon. Not a fan either, Pete. One doesn't need to be hard on oneself to grow, just truly committed to making the effort. There you go. I found a respectable fish and chips in a place here in Pont Lima made with hake. There you go. So not cod and chips, and it can be made from either cod, haddock, pollock, or hake. My preference is hake. And do you know what's nice as well? I think what's missing from that list is a huss. When I were a lad, you used to be able to get rock salmon or huss, and it's a kind of thinner cut of fish and a little bit chewier, more of a sort of monkfish consistency, not constituency. Is that right? I think that's another one you used to get in a old-fashioned British fish and chip shop to go alongside the cod. Cod and haddock for sure, right? And then pollock and hake. They're slightly cheaper cuts of whitefish, aren't they? And then rock salmon or huss in there as well. It's like a little shark, isn't it? A rock salmon. Don't forget that the baby is doing nothing but learning. The baby isn't worried about where she will live, her immigration status, or even about going to the bathroom. No. Is this a possibility then? That I wonder if we could emulate the baby a little bit more. We could wear adult diapers, couldn't we? And then not worry about that part of the thing. Immigration status, that's difficult, isn't it? At certain parts of the journey. And not being worried about where you'll live. I mean, these are adult concerns, aren't they? She outsources all of that. You're quite right. You're quite right. Make it 3. What? Make it 3 redwoods, perhaps, outside of the redwood forest. If there was a custard eating test to move to Portugal, oh, she's like trebling down now. I would have to consider Spain. Yikes! Honestly, Jackie, we're seeing another side of you this morning. It's not that I don't like the eggies, says James. I just get tired of that being nearly the only filling for pastries. A bit more variety suits me fine. Like I said, it's open season for a bit of pushback on the Portuguese classics here this morning. What's happened? Is it a full moon? There are over 1,000 recipes for bacalhau, absolutely, and custard, no doubt. Carl, there's so many clickbait rubbish about Portugal on YouTube of you. But as I have this channel for reality, I'm safe watching the crap shoddy ones because they simply can't compete. Say what you like about custard. If it's wrapped up in a feedback sandwich like that. Fish and chips with smoked haddock is something I had in Dublin. Very delicious. I mean, there are some very shocking things going on this morning in the chat, and that's another one of them. Smoked haddock in fish and chips. No. The baby is not concerned even with learning, just doing it, just getting on with it. Yes, can we emulate that? I think we can. And Bon Dia P always making up different uses for food. He is, isn't he, Antonio F? That didn't go unnoticed. Yeah, this is why I'm asking about Steve, Sarah. Steve fell on a bad gravel descent 2 weeks ago. And this is presumably on the bike. This morning, the doctor will tell us if he is healing just fine on his own or will need surgery. So, poor lad, send him our love. Leaving in a few minutes. Fingers crossed. Yeah, all the best, Steve. I hope you get the diagnosis and the words you need to hear from the doc on that. Okay. And a second opinion if necessary, because surgeons going to surge, aren't they? They love plying their trade. I think not to cast nasturtiums on this. There are times when we need it for sure. Best fish and chips I've had were in the Shetlands and in Orkney. Now that does sound like the right place, doesn't it, to have proper fish and chips? Although London, mate, that's got to be the best place to have fish and chips, isn't it? And then pie, mash, and liquor the day after that. Pete, no doubt, will know a good place to get pie, mash, and liquor. You got to probably cross the river for some of that, haven't you, mate? Right, okay. More video footage, and a still first of all from the coach. Where was this taken, coach? I don't even know if I've got it. Oh, this was a still we finished with yesterday. That's one of Paul Richards' pictures down there in the Algarve. And, here we go. We've got a picture of Vasco da Gama. Who how did you describe him? He got about a bit. I can't remember how you described Vasco. Oh, he was a bit of a dude. And he had a great view of Sines Harbour as well. Let's play that for you and your video of Villanova de Milfonges. Here we go. Here's Vasco's view of Sines first. What a beautiful soundscape as well. That's Vasco da Gama looking out over the seas there, of course, quite rightly and fittingly so. And then onward to Villanova de Milfonges on the Alentejo coast. You're right. It is beautiful, isn't it? Villanova de Milfonges and Sines and the Vasco da Gama. looking out over the seas. And now you're in the Algarve, I think, taking a little bit of a rest from motoring. We'll see you for more of that next week then, Coach, with a rugby colin. Okay, I wonder what else I've got lined up for you. We'll go back to the comments in just a moment. Oh, yeah, there was more about the 1st of May. The great irony of tomorrow, of course, it's Workers' Day, and not many workers will be working. However, for those of you hard-working workers, you low-paid workers, you workers who are struggling with an uncertain future, more power to your elbows, and enjoy a well-earned rest, no doubt, tomorrow. I'm going to tell you more about this celebration now, and I'll come back to a few more of your comments in the chat here. It is, of course, May the 1st, isn't it? Labor Day tomorrow, and it is the Dia do Trabalhador, it's called here. And one of the biggest gatherings of Portuguese happened on the 1st of May, just after the Carnation Revolution in 1974. We don't hear a lot about that. And I'm looking for the Wikipedia. Okay, yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit more from Wikipedia about Labor Day here in Portugal and how it's celebrated. And Wikipedia telling us more about, Labor Day all over the world, specifically now, of course, here in Portugal. We need to know about that. In Portugal, Labor Day has been celebrated since 1890. It's not only one of the biggest gatherings of people then in 1974, but it's one of the oldest holidays here in Portugal, celebrated since 1890. And during the Estado Novo dictatorship, the celebration was violently repressed by the police, the P that we talked about before. And it was only from May of 1974, after the Carnation Revolution, as we've said, that May Day was freely celebrated again, which became a public holiday. World Workers' Day is celebrated throughout the country with demonstrations, rallies, and parties of a demanding nature. Parties of a demanding nature promoted by the CGTP-IN, that's the General Confederation of Portuguese Workers, Intersindical, the union centre in the main cities of Lisbon and Porto, as well as by the Central Union, the UGT, the General Union of Workers. In the Algarve, as well as in Madeira and the Açores, it is customary for the population to have picnics and some parties that are organised to commemorate the day as well. So if you're looking to get anything done tomorrow bureaucratically, forget it. It's a public holiday tomorrow to celebrate Labor Day, the Day of the Workers here in Portugal. You're very welcome. And by the way, I'm adding more and more of these. Those of you who are users of the Portugal Club site, GMP VIP or theportugalclub.com, I've been putting more and more holidays in the calendar. There's a calendar there. There's a timeline where we discuss things. There's a classroom where you can find all the Portuguese language and culture foundational stuff, the daily messages, as well as a load of other courses as well. Andy Klein's video making course, using your smartphone to make a video, my podcasting course, loads of great content, loads of information, factoids about Portugal there. And there's also a calendar. So I am putting the, and you can, with your settings, I think you can set it so that you receive alerts of various volumes. And it's a difficult balance to strike, I think, because we do put a lot of information up there. But you can adjust your own settings for the amount of incoming notifications and alerts that you want. And you can get alerted when the next public holiday is coming up. So I'm furnishing as many of those as I can be aware of and share with you at the Portugal Club on the calendar. So community, classroom, and calendar, the 3 C's of the Portugal Club over there. And you can sign up at theportugalclub.com if you haven't done so already. And thank you thank you to all of those who are signed up and who are supporting this endeavor in that way. Right, where did we get to? We looked to babies who outsource many of their life challenges until they have to become adults and do this adulting thing, making it a little bit easier for them to learn the language with proper mushy peas. That's not what you find in a baby's nappy, although it is sometimes, isn't it? Something that looks a little bit like that. But no, we're talking about the codden chips, I think, again, there, or the Haken chips. It was the hake, wasn't it, that John had up in Pontelima with some proper mushy peas. And messages from Antonio F. I'm sure Antonio speaks on behalf of many of us here in the community. Sarah, hope he's healing well. Best wishes to Steve, of course. Gemini's here. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing, Gemini? Okay, ciao, ciao. Para já. I've not heard that one before. The many ways of saying goodbye in Portuguese. That will certainly be in my foundational course. We can have a whole week of saying goodbye in Portuguese. That's Sines. I spent some summer vacations there where Vasco da Gama was looking out over the sea, as no doubt you did as a boy as well. And that celebration, says Antonio F., continuing on May the 1st, 1974, was huge. The first time workers could celebrate it freely. Marvelous. And Nubianette, I don't like eggs unless in my Victoria sponge cake. Do you know what? Jackie's really quite strange, isn't she? Doesn't like custard tarts. She's coming to Portugal and doesn't like eggs unless they're in a Victoria sponge cake. Eggs get eaten with many things. You will find a fried egg in the most unusual places here in Portugal, Jackie. Be ready for that. If we eat out together, I will take your fried egg and add it to my meal. Don't worry about that. And then I'll eat your natas as well. I don't do wine. What? Jackie, I don't do wine, but can match any drink with a cup of tea and a smoke. Tea is good too. I've got some Yorkshire tea bags. If you need a starter kit here, I've been very generously blessed. Thank you, Coach Turner, for bringing Yorkshire tea bags over for me. We Welsh don't believe in letting the kettle get cold or lonely. It's true, isn't it? And mushy peas were not in Pontelima. I just mean a proper fish and chips should have mushy peas. It should have chips and mushy peas, but it should also have a slice of bread and butter and maybe ketchup. We can make a little bit of an exception for ketchup, I think, and the gherkin, the underrated, and I think it's the slightly esoteric occult practice of eating of what you would call a dill pickle in the United States, but they're quite sour. It would have the acidity. It wouldn't be a sweet one. It would be a sour gherkin or a wally, as they call them in Cockney London. Right, I've got incoming on 913-590-303. Thank you very much, Andy Klein, for your... Yes, I've played it, Andy. Thank you very much for that. And more talk there of the filming schedule for An Englishman and an Irishman. We've taken a break. We're not going to Braga, in case you didn't hear. We're not heading to Braga next month. It was just too much going on, sadly. But we will postpone rather than cancel Braga. So looking forward to that. And there will be more filming. And there'll be another weekend here in San Martino de Porto. If you haven't been here yet, I will organise, and I use the word organise very loosely, of course. If anything's left to me for that sort of thing, the organisation will be quite loose, but it will be a great weekend, as the first one was last November. So we might even do a couple of those a year. Marion Geray, she's going to join us in just a moment. And we're going to be talking about mental spring cleaning using the Wheel of Life, one of the oldest and most recognized coaching tools known to the personal development world. She says the benefits are increased awareness. You could call that mindfulness, couldn't you? Those words are interchangeable, I think. Identifying the 4 to 5 main areas which are most important in life, because I think, are there 8 sections on the Wheel of Life? We'll find out in just a moment when Marion joins us. And other benefits include goal setting and getting cracking, having a roadmap, basically, for things that you want to work on. She says the areas are unique to each person. For example, the physical environment should be a high score for all of us in Portugal, although each in an individual way. But she wants to talk more about the romance and intimacy, perhaps. What score do you have there? Where do you want to be? And affiliation and social interaction. Of course, when you're new to a country, that particular area of the Wheel of Life might be one you want to attend to. She's just warming up behind the scenes now. And when it comes to tea, not tea bags, but loose tea. And it's funny because Marion was talking about tea last time she was here. She mentioned Catherine of Braganza, who took tea to the UK, interestingly enough. That's a nice coincidence. And Bon dia, Portugal, from Lila Bulgazi as well. Give us a thumbs up, Marion, if you're ready to join us on the screen. And is that a thumbs up? Or there's the thumbs up I'm looking for. Thank you very much. 2 thumbs up, actually. I will be bringing good supply of tea bags. I've already made arrangements for tea, HP sauce, and chocolate refills from the UK. Okay, well, I forgive you for all the shocking things you said about custard, eggs, and wine this morning. If you can drop by our house with some tea, HP sauce, and chocolate refills, all will be forgiven, Jackie. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. And welcome to the screen, Marion Geray. Guten Tag!
Guten Tag! Bom dia! Tudo bem?
Muito bem, obrigado. Sehr gut. Contigo.
Muito bem, obrigada.
Wonderful. Now, I think you're back from China.
I'm back from China. Yes, it was already 2 weeks ago, Carl. Yes.
Incredible. And it was really amazing talking to you whilst you were over there. It sounds like you had the most amazing and exotic time, and you were boosting up your skill set, weren't you? Doing a bit of Qigong, Tai Chi, that sort of thing?
Yes, that's true, Carl. I have met my master of Qigong, after 5 years again, and I have shown him how I practiced. And he said, "Oh, Marion, I think we have to readjust some parts of your Qigong."
Oh,
so it was good that I have been there. So now I'm fit again and no mistakes anymore. And I feel it already. I do Qigong every morning for 20 minutes with the flow and everything.
yes,
So,
beautiful.
and it feels differently. You have to do it in the correct way.
Of course, as
It's
your
not
master
that you
pointed
do a
out.
little bit, because it looks like, oh, that's so easy, but it looks lovely. But if you hold the sky, for instance, you have to take efforts. It needs it needs forza
Yes,
to hold the
forza.
sky. It's
Yes,
not just,
of course it does. It's not just like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking about what I'm doing later on today. You got to do it mindfully, haven't you? You got to apply yourself.
Exactly. At the right moment, as you mentioned, Carl. That's true.
Yes.
And it helps so much. And then, all the meridians can go and it's stretched, and the organs, it's all about the inner organs, which have to be, you give them space.
Like internal massage. Yeah, that sounds great. Now, I need to talk to you about this Karate Kid moment you had, though. I mean, going to China, and the master says to you, "Okay, proceed," and you have to perform do you call it a routine? It's a routine.
It's a routine, and you have different schools of Qigong. I took now the 8 brocades, which is the very classy one, which takes one going through is 6 minutes.
Yes.
And you have to stick on this, on the process. You cannot change 1 with 8 and 7 with 6. You have to go from 1 to 8.
Discipline. Yes, absolutely.
Very disciplined, yeah. And with the music, with the music
as well. So there you were doing your Qigong routine in front of the master.
And I have already infected my neighbor. She's American. Right. And here in Portugal, and she hears the music, and she says, "Oh, this brings me pretty much down. It is nice and easy, and you want to move after you're listening. Maybe we do one session next month." Here.
Would love that. Right. Would absolutely love that. And were you quite nervous to perform your routine in front of the master?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's watching, and he's seen thousands of people, presumably, and understands how the body moves and what the benefits are of a particular movement.
Yeah, and the Chinese supposed to be indirect, according to their culture. They are never direct speakers like Germans or US Americans. But this guy, he was really direct. So I was not prepared. Yeah, I was not really prepared. I thought, oh my God, so lots of things to do now. But it worked out. It was worth the money. It was worth the trip. Amazing.
I'm thinking like a Chinese metaphor of when a German and Chinese person are in the same room. It's like here we see fish on glass. Like it doesn't. Or a metaphor of fish on a mirror. That is a culture clash, isn't it?
It's true. It's a cultural clash. And although I studied Chinese, so I knew already to talk Chinese.
Yes.
But for being a typical German, aggressive, competitive young lady, 25 years old, at the Siemens office in Beijing, I was too direct to them. And other people who are much more sensitive towards culture, they had, with no Mandarin skills, they were much more interacting and loved by the others, by the Chinese.
That's incredible. So many vignettes and situations I see in my mind's eye as a movie. And I would love to see that reenacted. The young German woman who's desperate to learn about Qigong, and she wants to soak up everything the master has. And the master says, no. It's like
exactly. So I had my lessons. 12 years in China. I learned a lot.
Well, we got Jackie. I did Tai Chi. I mean, they are different, but we're in the same kind of ballpark, aren't we?
Yeah.
Many years ago, and can do the short form. It's amazing. Huge help for mental and physical well-being. Tai Chi was a huge help when I moved into Wing Chun too. She does a bit of Wing Chun as well.
Wing Chun, I'm not quite sure, Jackie. Maybe you explain this to me. I don't know this one. I know Tai Chi, of course. And I was talking to the master in Shanghai. So when is the good time to do Qigong? And when are you doing Tai Chi? And you know what he said is that the Tai Chi is better for the older people.
Yeah.
Older, he meant 80 plus, because they...
Yes.
So, because, you have more legs, the knees, the two knees in Chinese philosophy is the first area of your body which ages,
It's
right?
true, isn't it?
And that's why they put within the Tai Chi more the legs, you move more with the legs. In the Tai Chi, you basically stand, you make a step to the side, another side, but it's more breathing and
very
working
good.
with
Very
the Chi.
interesting.
So it's...
So for the youngsters who are in their 70s, probably...
Yeah. So now it's the time for all of you to start Qigong, and then we can all do, when we are 80, we do the Tai Chi.
Exactly. That's a very excellent prescription. Wonderful. Okay, so remember, in those days when we get there, we'll remember this moment when we said that on the Good Morning Portugal show. Well, that's fantastic. Wing Chun, as I understand it, is more martial arts focused or based, and it's very popular with a lot of young fellas these days, I think, because it's quite yangy. I feel 80 plus, says Jackie. So maybe you should restart the Tai Chi then.
Maybe, Jackie, you should come to one of my, hopefully soon, digital, which I'm planning, but I have not set anything in place yet.
Well, has that got the blessing of the master? Digital Qigong. I mean, how does that work okay?
No, you mean with the master in Shanghai? That was in presence.
No, I mean, I'm thinking you say to the master, I've got this idea to do Qigong digitally. Did you get the master's blessing for that?
He says, don't do it.
But you're going to ignore him.
And that, it depends, I let the market decide. If I have so many people asking, Marion, and I always say, first come to my retreats, and then you get the introduction. Then I show you the 5 main points, how to stand. The standing is the most important in Tai Chi, in Qigong. So, yes. And then they can do it by themselves. And usually I have a follow-up call 4 weeks later, and then we can correct everything again. You don't stand like this. You stand a little bit like this when you do also the meditation, standing meditation, the standing tree.
Yes.
For 10 minutes every morning. You have to practice this.
That sounds
great.
It's not
like yoga, you sit and, easy. It is, you have to stand properly.
Yeah, you yoga lightweight.
Yeah, so...
Well, that's fascinating. And there's also another scene in the movie where the master and the student are entering the digital space, the digital dojo, I guess you could call it. That's wonderful. Excellent to catch up with you and your master there. Maybe he'll be on the show one of these days. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? When you're
that would be fantastic, And you cannot tax his age, I thought, oh my God, he must be 70, but he looks like 55. And his body, and he's so... It's amazing. He's ageless,
He might be 180. Yeah, he could be over 100, and we never know.
We never know.
Let's turn our attention before we run out of time to spring cleaning. A bit of spring cleaning, not for the house, although yes, that would work too. Are we looking at somebody's personal? Should that be on the screen, or is that giving away a little bit of data protection?
It can be on the screen in a few minutes, Carl. Yeah. I just wanted to introduce the mental spring cleaning.
Yes, okay. Please. I'm ready for you.
So, Carl, it is. We do not talk about your apartment, nor about my house. It is, spring cleaning is today mentally.
But my house has never been cleaner. Do you know what? Just before you get started with the wheel of life and spring cleaning, there is something really holistic, though, isn't there? Because I was thinking to myself, I'm nearly 60, and this adulting thing has taken me a really long time to adjust to. And I'm thinking it's going to be over before I've really got the hang of it. And do all adults feel that secretly inside? This is the tidiest my house has ever been. And it's not that tidy, but it's the tidiest it's ever been. I've bought bins, and I use bin liners, and I do all sorts of grown-up things now, and it's never been so well organized. And I'm thinking that's inner and outer. these things can't be separated, or they can be separated, but it seems to be working in a holistic way. You know, I'm getting more organized in one area, and then that's showing up in, you know, this thing that like Jordan Peterson says, you know, make your bed. All of these little things are very good habits, and they seem to show up, don't they, in a holistic way?
Yeah.
And maybe that's the best way to approach it.
It's very interesting, Carl, what you are saying. It's really true with the make your bed. It also was during Corona. You remember there were so many reels going on in social media. Make your bed, although you are working at home, and don't use your bed during the day. You know, you have to separate it. But a clean house and a well-organized house or apartment or space may affect your mental clarity. You know, there are researches and studies about it. For me, it's okay. I'm a bit more, I needed more, but my husband needed less. So we have discussions here, you know.
Yeah.
But it is true that if the outside is in order and tidy, it has an impact on your mind.
And yes, yeah, that's right. And that's what's occurring to me. And it's easier if you see it like that. If you're just trying to force yourself with a lot of yang, you know, like I must tidy my house, you know, and I've got all these chores to do. If you approach it in quite a negative way like that, it's harder. It's like pushing a stone uphill, isn't it? But if it's like, well, actually, this making a tidy workspace, like, you know, I cleaned up the studio to start the week, I think on Sunday night. So it was nice for me and Mrs. M. And it was a joy to do. It wasn't a chore. It was like, I am blessing myself. I am blessing us with a clean, efficient workspace. Isn't that a lovely thing? And then I went and did the lawn, trimmed the lawn, and then the bedroom, and was doing all these things. And it's like a bit of growing up. It wasn't like, oh, do I have to? And the only person I'm arguing with now these days is myself. So that's pretty stupid as well, isn't it? To have a struggle with yourself like that. And it seems to have given way to like, well, these are blessings. These are to tidy up after oneself and to be in a harmonious and clean space is a self-blessing.
Yeah. And it's also very interesting when you look at your children, when they move out to university or to apprenticeship, so they leave your house. And, you know, and usually it was a mess in the kids' rooms, right? So bigger mess or minor mess, but it was a mess. And then once they have their own, you know, at boarding schools in the UK, small room, and my number one, he's so tidy now because, Mom, I have to organize. I have no space, so I have to be very clear, you know, here. And they do it.
Yes.
And that's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, wheel of life then. I talked about this as the turning the wheel of life in Portugal. As I think you said, we are very blessed and lucky, aren't we, to be in, generally speaking, a pretty awesome and supportive environment for many of the things we want to achieve. Quality of life, as an example, you know, for a lot of Americans, and in remarking upon how much better the food quality is. So that's another box or another, you know, area of the wheel. So things are going in our favor, but that's not to say there still might be some areas that need some attention. So can you give us a general overview of the Wheel of Life, this classic coaching tool?
It is a very classy, it's from the 80s, you know, it's a typical classy and still coaching method, which always goes, and it's pretty easy. Everybody can understand it easily. Everybody of us has different areas who they have to take care of. No? It can be career, it can be personal growth, it can be health, it can be finance. My 8 are different to yours. And your wives and my husband's are different either. Yeah. Yep. So it is springtime, and at springtime, I always think it's an awareness month. April gives us a chance to be aware and check what is the nature doing. You know, I'm always reconnecting to the nature. So, and they are everything is growing. So the question is, what do I want to continue in my life for the year? And what do I want to stop? You know, which areas are running very good? So, for instance, physical environment, we are all in Portugal or about to move here. That's 10. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 is the highest score you can get. I think we are all fine. Yeah. So, but if you make a scaling on other areas, for instance, you know, I'm a coach, and when I hear my clients saying, oh, you know, on my romance dimension, I'm only on a 4.
Yes.
And I'm married, I have children, you know, I have 4 children here or 2, whatever. And I'm okay, you know, with the 4 or 5 you can work and you can live, but it is not something like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So the question is, are you willing? And this is coaching. Coaching means changing, and this means working. And the wheel of life is something you are working on. So you have to be open for it and to say, okay, it's not only I have fun and I have good food here and I have a nice apartment and lots of sunshine. Is there more? You know, this is what I'm always asking my expats here who moved here. And then they say, actually, after 1 year, it gets a bit boring, you know?
Oh,
I
interesting.
tried all the wine and the Portuguese is okay, you know. So, but then they got into a, you know, the euphoric phase, in the cultural phase of immigration. So you first are, woo, you know, sun and people visit. But then the first phase of visitors declined, you know, and not all come back to visit you. So you have to have a affiliation to the area where you are. And this could be a dimension for all of us, for all us expats and NHR holders or whatever you call us. What could we do to get on a 8, 9, you know, after the first phase of cultural positive phase has been through?
That's very interesting. So we've got the template, and I'll just put it on the screen in just a moment. I found one which has got all the areas on it, and you said, you know, it's different for everybody. I mean, the basic areas are the same, aren't they? But people's different scores will be.
Usually you have to have. I mean, this is what people say, or research psychologists say. You need roughly 5 to 7 areas you are working on actively.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let's go back to the areas then. Would you agree? Is this the standard template? So starting at 1 o'clock, we've got business and career. Which if you're retired, I guess might mean, you know, you might become a mentor, or it might be your wealth management, which actually lends itself to the next segment, which is finances. Then there's the all important health, because we talked about Qigong and Tai Chi and knees. Because you need those. Family and friends at 5 o'clock, coming around to 6 o'clock for romance, and 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, personal growth, fun and recreation at 10 o'clock, and finally your physical environment, which, as you said, hopefully we're scoring fairly highly because we're in Portugal there. But, you know, you might not be. That's the point here, isn't it? It's not about what you should be doing. It's about what you actually are. So in a session, how much time are people spending actually drilling down into these areas and coming up with a score? Are they doing that alone, or is that something you do?
Usually, I give the wheel of life to the people in paper or digitally, and then they have to score themselves.
Right.
And then they see, okay, where is 9, 8? Where is 2 or 3? The areas which they score 2 or 3 need to be addressed if they are open and willing to and motivated to change something. Yeah.
All right. And that's what that might look like when somebody's got the wheel and they've done their work here. This is what it might look like. And a low score on this one is a significant other / romance. That's marked quite low, and personal growth. So that's the area you would focus on.
Exactly.
Because I suppose I had a template for health called the champion system. It was, you know, C was for cleanse, H was for hydrate, and it was lots of what is it? CHAMPION. It was 8 areas, and my theory was with health is that you're only as good as the weakest area, because it's fine to focus on the areas where you're scoring highly. Is it the same with the wheel of life then? If you're overlooking or not focusing on the weakest area, that will be undermining you because you're not attending to it.
Yeah, and one day it will come up. You know, Carl, we have so many people when the kids move out. 55, 60, so the kids leave. So what is left? You have a partner, and then there are men looking at their women, at their partner, saying, "Ooh." So how could this happen? No, really, I'm kidding. No, I'm not. No, actually, I'm not kidding. Yeah, or the wife says, "Oh my God." Yeah. Well.
Here we are then.
So here we are. So you can say, okay, you know, we did 25 years. We had a great marriage. We have lovely children. We have some money. We moved to Portugal. But the question is it this what you are happy with? And if you say, never change a winning team, Carl, never change a winning team, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, hold on a minute. How does that work? Never change your winning team, because your team has changed by virtue of your lifestyle's changed in that situation.
Exactly. But you have to wanting it. You have to be open, and you say, okay, let's go and open up all these habits and patterns and what we have,
Let's
Because
go
there are
there,
lots of
Marion. Let's
couples-
go there right now, because in my mind, I've got 0 to 10 on the significant other romance area. And at 0, it's like that moment you described, the empty nest or whatever. And 0 is, ah! And 10,
Who is this in the room?
ah! That's 0. And 10 is like, hey,
Exactly.
how are you doing? That's number 10, isn't it? So if you're closer to the, ah! What do you do about that? Are you coaching people specifically in that?
Yes. I mean, I'm not a sexual therapist, but I have some tools, because if you have like, it's communication first, that they don't communicate anymore. I'm sure if you look at your wife, or I'm as my husband, he knows without saying anything, he knows what he has to do. Or if you look, it says, okay, the bell rang, you go, but you don't use so many words anymore, because you are a winning team.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but if we say, I want to have a little bit more, I want to go direction 8, then this means we have to communicate. What is a very good tool for that is we sit back to back, the partner and the partner back to back, and then just you're taking turns, and you just speak out loud what your wishes are.
My goodness.
Not
naked?
all 100,
are we naked already, or is this fully clothed?
There are therapists, they say be naked. I find it not necessary. It depends, but
culturally appropriate, because it might be just too much. If you're Scandinavian, it'll be. I mean, you're probably naked anyway, because that's what they do, isn't it? And at the supermarket, probably.
It depends on the nationality. Maybe, I don't know, but they can decide it. But the important thing is that you speak it out loudly, and because everything what you can speak out can be changed.
Very
this is the idea behind, and you don't look into the eyes in this moment, because it's your wish, and you let it out. You try to let it out, and the other one just listens. And he does not, or she does not judge it or comment it or something. They just hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good.
And then you do it maybe once a week, and then you can develop. Then you have, hopefully on a 9, 1 year later, or 6 months later, you can have a date night.
Very good. Very good.
Happens, but it is a working process. You are not jumping from a 2 to a 9 within 1 month.
No. Okay. That'd be a bit much to ask for. Now, this is very interesting. So, it's a gradual process. It begins with identification and is followed by communication, by the sound of it. So you recognize that something is not as you would ideally like it. And I think it's, like you said, not to be judgmental. It's important, isn't it, to just be aware rather
than awareness,
too judgy. Yeah.
April is the awareness month. And
is that right?
Yeah, I read it yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was from the UK. It was an article in the UK. April for awareness, maybe also stress awareness. However, it's, today I would like to make a point in go and score your life. Take your 4 or 5 dimensions. So where do you stand? Make a photo, take a photo. This is me today, April, end of April. So what is good? 5, 6, 7 is all fine. You don't have to do anything. And the majority of people is in this area, luckily. And the minority is somewhere with 1 or 2 dimensions a bit low.
All right. Well, that's excellent. You've addressed the sort of significant other romance area. What's often, what would you say, generally speaking, is something that comes up for the foreigners, the expats, and people of our generation, if you like? What's the other general area of weakness, would you say?
It is, once they are retired, it is the emptiness.
Oh, what meaning? The search for meaning and self-actualization.
Yeah, but also, I know everything. And now I get my pension and I get my money, and I have fun. I do something for my body and for I do meditation, but there is content,
Yes, meaning is the word that comes to mind for me. Now, this sort of connects us to the very notion of personal development. I mean, that's what we're talking about, isn't it? It's like you spent all these years, being the householder, if you like, and bringing up a family, if you like, or working. People who didn't have a family situation were probably busy working, and retirement, it looms and then becomes a reality, and may be positioned here in Portugal for many people in our community. So that's the thing. We're talking about the general area, are we, of personal development and finding meaning in life, because that's now possible.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the word lifelong learning.
Yes.
Imagine our life expectancy, if we especially live here in Portugal, it is over 80, 85, easy for men and female.
Right.
Male and female. There's no doubt about that. If you look at some areas, okay. But what keeps you away of not learning something new at 55? Yeah, that's always the main question what I have for my clients. What keeps you away of learning Portuguese? Lots of them starting, but then it is hard. Yeah?
Yes, it gets difficult, and then they give up, perhaps. Yeah,
and many of us give up, don't they?
So what are you suggesting there then? The reason why they gave up might be a clue to other areas of their life, even. It might be general,
mainly they are missing, the small wins are missing.
Oh, okay. All right.
You do something and you put efforts in and time, maybe some money, and then nothing comes out. There's a return on investment thing. And we are trained like return on investment. Okay, I try, and then I give me a goal setting 1 year, and then I will be fluent or B1, B2 level. In Portuguese, it does not manifest, so I stop.
Right, and then that might compound people's feeling of fulfillment or self-esteem, even possibly.
Exactly. And I think first of all, if we are, including myself, if we stop thinking in a return on investment perspective, is might be a good idea, and that's why I always have the idea of what about mentoring? Yes. You mentioned it already. Mentoring is that someone knows more than the mentee. Yeah. And we know a lot of things, and we can, where's your passion? Where can you maybe help other people, younger people, and support them once a month?
Yes, and it's a tap. It's a giving to others once denied the avenue of the workplace is like turning a tap off, isn't it? And having a hose, a garden hose under intense pressure.
And and it's also proven that if you are elevating others, it elevates you.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so there's a nice little outlet and avenue possibly for that sort of frustrated knowledge or gift that you have that is not expressed anymore.
Because it is important, and we all followed our profession, and there are lots of things you can give to other people. But I'm also would like to highlight the reverse mentoring. I'm using lots of young people from Germany or from Austria who helped me in the digital area.
Yeah.
Because I'm not as good as they are, in social media, my Insta channel. Oh my God, So I said, I want to learn from younger. So this is called reverse mentoring.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It shouldn't necessarily be based on age, should it? It's about meritocratic rather than chronic.
Exactly. It is more. Yeah, it is.
We're running out of time here. We're running out of time. We'll find out how people can work with you, of course, before we go. But we've got some nice feedback. Well, I say nice feedback. I feel 80 plus. Is that in terms of wisdom or physicality? I wonder. My knees are sad. Let's see if we can cheer them up. In the future, Nubianet. Carl, please let us know if the digital is available. Would be great. And thanks, Marion, for your lovely interview. So there's Jackie, who's interested in your digital version of the Qigong. I need new knees, and you need a cuppa, says Jackie as well. I need new knees. Without surgery, I'm forced to get very fit now. My muscles will have to compensate. Not the worst diagnosis. Okay, Nubianet, walking around Portugal will help with all those hills. Move to Covilla, Nubianet. You will soon have the legs of a mountain goat. There are a few gradients below 30 degrees. I'll have to strengthen my muscles first. Can't do stairs and hills now. I recently tore my meniscus in my kidney. Oh no! Portugal's got all them hills because in 1143 it broke from Spain and took all the land with it and piled it up to make the mountain ranges. Well, I've never heard that geological theory before, but it makes sense to me. Jackie, I had to postpone my trip to Europe because of my knee. Oh, sorry to hear about this. But we'll see what we can do to help. Ian, we got Marion as well. Ian pointed out hills and stairs are resistance training and it's very healthy. Portugal and France were great for that. On my last trip, but we have elevations where I live too. And I grew up in the Welsh valleys where the rain hits you sideways, not from above because of the mountains. So I'm getting mobility or an e-scooter for Portugal. Yes, well, why not? And retirement, this is a good point from Erica. Retirement in Portugal is such a gift. Never take it for granted. And the thing is, what I wanted to say about that, oh, and also here, thank you, James, meaning, purpose, and loneliness are 3 huge issues for later life and leaving a job. If you do feel like you're taking it for granted or the sparkle and the magic is not there and you're ranking a 2 or a 3 on the wheel of life, I don't think it's very helpful for people to feel self-judging or like ashamed of that, right? It just means that there's a little bit of work to do possibly.
And everybody knows it, that coaching or changing needs work and it is a long process. And that's why it's so many people saying, it's not that bad. It's okay. I can live on it, next year. Next year, I will change,
Very good, Marion. So here's your prompt. It's April and it's Awareness Month. If you're aware of a little bit of I don't know, more of a, more than a, then maybe now is the time to take action on that. Because I think that's what you're suggesting. Let's not put it off for another year. Life is for living. Just as this lovely lady at My Beautiful Country says, busy day ahead, stay cool, stay safe, stay happy. Life's too short not to be happy. So anything in that area that's a 2 or a 3, maybe the time has come to do a little bit of work on that. And you're happy to support people. They can connect with you, can they, at walksperia.com?
Yes. hello@walksperia.com is the email, or walksperia.com is the website.
There you go.
And GMP listeners get, of course, the first session for free.
Do they? I didn't even know that, but how kind of you to do that. That's excellent. So a free 1-to-1 with Marion Geray. She's fresh back from China, having been assessed by the master. Quite an incredible story, which will one day be a film, I hope. Learning a new language can address all those issues. So there you go. There's another reason to learn Portuguese and deal with all of those things of meaning, purpose, and loneliness. Learning Portuguese, enrolling in a class, taking it steady, as Marion says. Rome wasn't built in a day, and Portuguese won't be learned in a year. It's a lifelong learning matter, as are so many of all the best things in life. Marion, always fun and informative to talk to you. We'll see you on the next Chill Out Tuesday, I hope.
Yes, see you then. Thanks for having me.
I suspect you're going to have a great day, but I wish you a good one. Take care.
Good day to all of you. Bye-bye.
And we shall see you tomorrow. Bye for now.